Well, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, just wherever you are watching KMTV from. We are coming to you live on our central studios in Monroeville. Well, today happens to be the first day in the month of May, and we are here once again bringing you happenings across the country. As you may be aware today, the president of Liberia has dismissed the Minister of Post and Telecommunication, Councillor Cooper Cra. Just for what? We're going to be dipping deep into the argument tonight. So, to bring on the crew, we will begin by bringing on Madam Jackie McCay, who is going to handle the show for tonight. Good evening and welcome once again to the closing argument, Madam McCay.
Good evening, Yipa. How are you doing? How was your weekend?
Well, it was okay and it was great, except for you that took the entire Friday of naming your vice running mate. And it
Oh,
has
yeah,
created a lot of discussion in the public as to the negatives and the positives. So we hope to hear more as we move forward onto 2023.
definitely. That's the thing about politics, with politics, as decisions are made and they break the news, no matter what the political party, there will always be pros and cons. The same thing when CDC, was closing in, signing all these final documents for the coalition for democratic change. We saw a lot of there were pros and there were cons. And even now, there are discussions where, they're talking about how NPP is still split, the binding portion, along with the other portion that went with VP Taylor. So you will see that this year there's a lot more of breaking news, pros and cons of these breaking news to come. But overall, each political party has to do what's in their best interest. So yeah, definitely Friday was an exciting day for Unity Party people, and also with, the discussion surrounding, the other matter. I'm sure that stuff is being worked on behind the scene and being dealt with behind the scenes. So we will see what's going to happen over the next couple of weeks with that. But I am
And
excited.
your party have taken a spoon from someone's mouth. So I hope you are in a
Oh,
position to replace that spoon that have been taken from the councillor's mouth.
you're talking about which counselor now? I can't clarify.
Councillor Cooper Craft from the Post and Telecommunication Ministry. He has been
Oh,
dismissed by the
well,
president and was replaced by uh, the former Nima County representative, uh, Wadier
Wallace,
Siwa Duno.
Duna. Yeah, and that's another breaking news that's unfolding today. We look forward to talking more about it. Let's go ahead and bring in our other panelists. And we'll also have, I think, two guest panelists who will be joining us today. George Lobo and Sylvester Peewee will be joining us today as well. And to all our viewers who have just joined us, welcome to the closing argument. We are on KMTV Liberia. We are on Hot FM, YouTube. We're on 36 radio stations live. So click the like button and share the show. I would like to say hello to Dusala, to Andrew Grando, to Dickerson Johnson, to Nora Hooks, to Sumoro Dolly, and to Robert Kadier. Please keep clicking the like button and sharing the show. Today is Monday, May 1. We have 162 days to go till October 10 on election day. Is an exciting time to be in Liberia, where we have this election going to be another historical year. Really, this is a year where we don't have UNMIL as part of our security detail in Liberia. So Liberia is going to be having its election with us, without us having UNMIL there post conflict Liberia. So welcome, Peabody, Dr. Peabody and Keff Hassan. Welcome to the both of you. How was your weekend?
Well, it was good to see you, Jackie. Good to see everybody. It was a busy weekend. There was a lot going on. but always the weekend is always welcome. Sometimes you take up some time to rest and do other things, but it was a great weekend, and I'm glad to be back on this edition of the Closing Acumen.
And how's the weather on your end? I know I had a wet weekend.
Yeah, it was pretty wet, and it's still kind of wet around here. It's warm, cold, so unpredictable weather. Very
Exactly.
yeah.
Mr. Keff Hassan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
You doing good? You sure you're
hmm
doing good? There's a lot
Wonderful.
happening in your camp.
Yeah, well, I'm doing great.
How's the weather on your end? Is it good? How was your weekend?
My weekend was good, wet also, but it's still a little bit uh, damp out here, but it's good.
Oh, okay. Well, wonderful. Are we ready for a good show? And I think we have two guests coming on, two guest panelists, George Lobo and Sylvester Peewee. Is that correct?
Yeah, and then we having
Sam Jackson going to
also
join us later.
also Sam Jackson coming also.
Okay. Well, wonderful.
hmm
Oh, there go Mr. Lobo. How are you doing, George?
I'm
Welcome to
doing
the closing
wonderful.
argument.
It's good for us to start to close the argument as we move towards replacing the CDC. So it's good to be here now so we can make the final argument as we close the whole debate.
Okay, and careful, be closing the argument too for his camp. To Chanel King, to James Kuyate Jr., Joe Wacker, Austin Sampson. We want to tell you, all of you who are making comments right now, and to all our viewers, once again, welcome to today's edition of another fascinating show. At this time, we're going to go through the rundown as to what we're going to be discussing today. We're going to be discussing the update on NEC voter registration process, the dismissal, of course, of one of the cabinet ministers, Minister Krua, as to why the president dismissed him today. ABC press conference, Alexander Cummings, the of the ANC, he had a press conference today. And we'll be talking about that because there's a lot of things that he said in that press conference. I think it was about 20-minute press conference. And also, we'll continue our discussion on the VP picks. And the U.S. Ambassador Linda Thomas Greenfield, she also had a lot to say this recently too, in a video about Liberia, about the corruption that's going on in Liberia. The United States, no doubt, has been very, 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 very strategic. They have been very strong in the messaging when it comes to Liberia and what's going on in Liberia right now. So I don't know, with 5 months to go, I don't know what President Weah, the legislative branch, I don't know what they plan on doing about all these statements that are coming from the U.S. government. I do see something that's unfolding with the Senate pro tempore, who released a statement today in response to the U.S. government continuous statements on the issue of corruption. So he also responded to the U.S. ambassador today. We will be talking about that as well. So it's going to be a fascinating show. So the first thing we're
Yeah.
going to be talking about, of course, next, we're going to have our opening statement from everybody. Please go ahead, Keff, then Dr. Peabody and George Lobo.
Okay. Well, as we all and heard today that the president made a, a change from the former minister Cooper Crow, who was saying at the Unity Party rally. And sometimes you wonder what country we we do have. You go into a rally and threaten to remove the government that you're working in. I don't know what sense that makes. You would they call the government uh, uh, corrupt? You clapping, You're clapping as an executive member. You're working. And how can you clap when they call the government corrupt and you there? Why you never resign if you know the government corrupt? What sense that make? But we'll hear the surrogate them will make excuses that don't make no sense. And I want somebody to show me where that happened in the world. Where? That's show me. I want somebody to come out and say, look, hey, it happened in Australia, it happened in Japan, it happened somewhere. Because I know in America it don't happen. So we'll move forward into that. We will get into that. Let me don't take all the time.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Kev, for your opening statement. Dr. Peabody, the floor is yours. Go ahead.
Well, again, good to see everybody. Good to see you, George. It's interesting, that last week one of the president's cabinet member went to the Unity Party naming of the vice president.
Right.
I think it's interesting. It's really interesting that he went there. It's interesting. I don't know whether he's part of the party. He was invited as a special guest. But it's a little shady here because as a cabinet member, I'm not sure what it was the right thing to do. You know that your job will be on the line. Your job will be on the line, and you could be fired. But on the other side, I don't think it's just 5 months to election. Well, less than 5 months to election. I don't think there should be any kind of firing and reappointing people at this time. But again, I think the president has the prerogative to fire, to appoint, and to fire. That he has the will and pleasure to do that. But I think if he put his job at risk, he just should have just stay away. I think that decision, he put his job at risk. I don't think anybody should be. I can't go to work for Jackie, and then I go to a meeting and people are sitting there. I want to agree with Kev for once. Somebody's calling my government, the very government that I serve, that I'm working in, and I'm sitting there too at the applause. I'm employing. Tell me about it. I mean, I think he put his at risk, and it was the president prerogative to fire him. I think.
Okay, the president prerogative to fire him. Well, that one is true according to his constitutional right. Dr. Peabody, you're absolutely right on that one. Mr. Lobo, please go ahead and chime in. You heard Kev's opening statement. You heard Dr. Peabody opening statement. What is your opening statement? What is your thought? What are your thoughts about what Kev and Dr. Peabody just said? You are mute.
Click that button.
I want to say, first and foremost, let me say it's good to be here with you guys to have these conversations. On the issue, I don't want to just begin with the issue of firing Mr. Kra. I want to start with a more pressing thing. I just listened to the former U.S. ambassador's statement, and I think that is more troubling than a firing of one minister. In her statements, Madam Griffith said that corruption takes away from the people of Liberia. It stops the country from having the business future that it desires to bring investors to the country. It robs the people, the young people, of their future. It talks about, it denies the citizen the right to basic public safety. This is under the leadership of the man who has the country in his heart. He is a heartless, wicked, and under his watch, corruption has been legalized. Having said that, look, let me be very clear. Mr. Kra, I would say, hats off to him, because as far as we are concerned, the government does not belong to President Weah. The last time we checked, he was a broke former world best player who could barely afford. Sadly for him, our people made him senator. Today, he lavished in wealth. The government, this is a man who in his speech said that the government will be reflective of the people, that indeed, that this responsibility he takes seriously, that it was time to move the country forward. Sadly for us today, he has become a dictator. He is now turning into one of Africa's worst tyrants in the twinkle of an eye. So again, a government, a country with 5.2 million people that is supposed to be for the people, I thought his government would be based on competence. Let me say this to Peabody and my good brother Kev. The notion that Mr. Kra should go and worship the king is wrong, because he himself, George Weah, worked in the Unity Party government while he was basically busy attending CDC events. Madam Sally didn't fire him. Former Minister, State for Presidential Affairs, Natana Falomage, was assistant minister in the Unity Party government. They were not fired. We can go on. Louis Brown was information minister. They were not fired. The list goes on and on and on.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right.
They were never fired for staying away from attending their party's activity. But it speaks to the type of future that we have had under George Weah. It speaks to the type of country that President Weah has provided to our people. That Liberians no longer have the right to affiliate or associate with parties they belong to, that we all must go to the Sycamore tree to worship the king. I think it is wrong. It is bad. I think Mr. Kra did nothing wrong. He's a Liberian. He's a professional. He's entitled to his right. If President Weah, that's true, they work at the will and pleasure of the president. But if President Weah will be firing people not on the basis of performance or competence, but on the basis of affiliation, this is wrong and this is dangerous. This is what I've always said. The sooner we let go of President George Weah, the better our country will be. And he must go, and he must go now.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Mr. Lobo. I see our other guest panelists.
We cannot allow the
we
lies
said
to go
opening statement.
Yeah.
We said opening statement. You are not interrupted. Today's rule. No, today's rule. We're not going to interrupt. There will be a crossfire session, but this is an intro right now, so we're not going back and forth right now. We see our other guest panelist who has joined us. When it's your turn, you can go ahead. So don't interrupt, Kev. So, Mr. Sylvester Pee-wee, how are you doing today? And welcome to the closing argument.
Thank you, Madam. And I'm doing very well, and I'm very pleased to make my debut this evening on this show. And let me commend you for your stewardship on the show. I'm looking forward to having a very interactive process with a wonderful panelists on the show. But it's a very good time to be on the show this evening.
Thank you so much. And again, to our viewers, welcome to the closing argument. Click the like button and share the show. Mr. Sylvester Pee-wee, please go ahead and do your intro.
Yes, thank you very closely. Sorry that I have to hit in late. Let me again introduce myself. I'm Sylvester Pee-wee, former Assistant Minister at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and current Executive Director of the New Progressive Movement. And I'm a passionate supporter and surrogate of President Weah re-election bid. And I believe in the tendency of President Weah. I'm one of those individuals that, by and large, believe the country is on the real trajectory of real democratization. We have a modern stick that is currently moving, where in Liberia we have the thought process of moving issues, and the country is on the basic line of ensuring that development is on course, the rule of law is on course, national security is very well on top of issues in terms of that. Wherein all of the 15 political subdivisions of our country is very well on course under the leadership of President Weah. He democratized the thought process of Liberians. Free press is very well on course. The basic of the proliferation of a civil society group participating in the democracy is very well also on course. The process about having the media to play a pivotal role in the country is very well on course. And more or less, he's trying to open a way for everyone to participate in the process of our pluralistic democracy we have. He's a constitutionalist. He believes in the welfare of ensuring that Liberians will have the requisite tendency that every given citizen of the country should be provided. That's part of the reason why he's there to improve the health sector of the country, improve the educational sector of the country, improve the infrastructure development sector of the country, by and large, improve female participation in our democracy. That's part of the reason why he is the feminist in chief and the rest of it. Meanwhile, the president providing, remember, the president is the head of policy mechanism in the country. He's the destined element that structures the process of elements. So if you are serving the cabinet of the president, and that's why I will also commend the president for dismissing the post and telecommunication minister. You cannot be part of a structure of a system that you try to undermine the very system you're part of. That is not democracy. That is hypocrisy. We cannot stand here and believe that people will come to be part of a system in our republic and undermine. Remember, every cabinet minister in the structure of our governance system are all exonerate to the president. The president is the embodiment of the structure of our constitution. He's the chief administrator of the republic. You cannot be part of a system that you try to serve the head of state of the country, that you serve to go and undermine that system. Is tantamount to a counterproductive element. So let me comment. I listened to my dear brother saying something that the president is there to divide. No, the president is an element that is prepared to reconcile the country. That's part of the reason why before he assumed the office as president of the republic, he played a pivotal role as peace ambassador. His ambassadorial responsibility now come to the country. He also played a global ambassadorial role when he served UNICEF and the rest of it. He's a peace element. He's an individual that encourages the process of peace throughout the length and breadth of the country. So he's one of those individuals that the country is prepared to move, and he's been tested before. Unlike the rest of the folks, he's been tested. 5 years now as president of the republic. He's very well on course. As part of the process, I'm very elated. I'm pleased to find myself as a surrogate to an individual that from time to time, and I've discussed this with my very dear brother there in Phoenix, Arizona before. When I came to school, I said to him, part of the process, the genuine transformation element towards Liberia moving forward. I said that to George Noble before. It's George Weah. Because I said to him, Ambassador Human Boakai does not inspire. A true and genuine leader will inspire. A real leader will inspire from all walks of the connectivities of what we call the social structure. And that's what George Weah does. So I'm a proud element to be part of this process today. And I'm very pleased. And that's why I'm coming with an article, a very major article about the recent nomination process. I think that will be published beginning tomorrow or the day after, preparing for my moving to the country to do my voter registration and the rest of it. But I'm a fervent believer in the president process. I believe in 1960, and I believe in all of the processes revolving in the issue about us pushing and promoting democracy. By and large, part of the thing I want to hail the president for, I was just checking the numbers. We have major processes unfolding before in the global scenario currently. The fact that through his leadership.
So remember, this is your intro now.
Okay, yeah. So let me know the intro. Sometimes I can push you to be more or less very passionate about your leader and the rest of it that you want to go.
I definitely,
yes, I'm looking forward to having a very detailed and very interactive discussions.
I definitely hear the passion in your voice, Sylvester. So right now, so we're going to go through the rundown. You did mention something which is our first major topic for today. It's the National Elections Commission. The update on that. You said you're going to register. Did you say you registered already, or you going to? And if so, where are you going to register?
No, I'm saying I'm preparing to get home to do my registration. I will be doing my registration in Lofa, in my hometown of Yela. Hopefully, I set to leave for the country sometime this weekend, and wherein I will be preparing to set up for the registration process. Yes, so the registration process is ongoing. This is the second phase, and the first phase went through the first 6 counties. The remaining 9 counties process started sometime and will be closing up by the 11th of this month.
May 11, right?
Yeah, the 11th
of this month. Closing actually in about 10 days. And as we see the news feed across our screen, we see that there's still problem with the National Elections Commission, the voter registration process, where people are being arrested for trying to register two to three different places, and actually people are getting away with it. And what does it say, and how is this going to impact our election on October 10th, the actual voting process, if people are still getting away with being able to register on at multiple places, one person registering at multiple places? That problem is still going on. We hear in the news now, even in Lofa County, Nima County, where there's still problems with the system, the long lines. Some places voters are going and there's no registration going on. The system is not working. So it is a problem. I think that all the stakeholders need to really continue to engage NEC and find out what is going on, because for every moment that is lost, every day that is lost, the right thing for NEC to do to protect our constitution, to protect the voters, is for them to extend the time. The same thing that they probably should have done for phase 1 and do it with the second phase. Normally in the past, the voter registration process was for 3 months. Now we're giving each phase 3 weeks to register. I think that's going to be very complicated, especially for giving the people the opportunity to register, the appropriate time for them to register. So we are on NEC issue. Keff, George, Dr. Peabody, and Sylvester, please go ahead. So Keff, you first. Regarding NEC, we're only talking about NEC.
Yeah, but
right now.
I think Dr. Peabody went through the process smoothly. He said on the show. George Lobo, I think he went through the process smoothly. His co-host on his show, Robert, went through the process. I spoke with a lot of people who went through the process. So I don't know why we're even talking about it. But I think it's a smart thing from you, Jackie, as a UP partisan, woman in the Unity Party, try to sway the debate from the mess that going on in the Unity Party, and try to change the narrative. But it's not going to work. I think that's what you bring in, a process that going
we're talking about NEC right now.
But that's what I'm telling you. You want to change it because you get your people here who went through that process. There's no problem.
If you feel the process was smooth,
I believe it's a calculated thing from you. Want to flip it from one end to another. You cannot be flipping it like that. We have to talk about
Kev, are you listening to the news? Are you listening to your own news feed?
The thing that going on
the
in
news feed?
Yeah, I listen to the news. The news said Yomli Kanga Lawrence, Costa and Dillon and the rest of them.
No, we are talking about NEC.
That's
we
what
are talking about NEC.
I don't know why we're bringing NEC into this discussion. That shows because number one, you bring in NEC into the discussion. Number two, you bring in a year ago statement by the American. Tells me that you don't have no issue. You don't have no. You don't have something to bring. But let me tell you something. Sylvester and I can bring more news to you if you don't have it. We can bring more news because you can't start bringing 1 year statement. Then you bring in a NEC that the first phase over. Nobody talking. Not even people for your party talking on the first phase. Come on. Let's talk something.
Okay, Dr. Peabody, you are next. Please go ahead. Oh, is George Lobo, Dr. Peabody, and then Sylvester.
Okay, George, go ahead.
Let me say this to you, Jackie. I was in Liberia, and I was very clear. I went to Richard Nixon, where I live, on the bypass, and I registered online. I was very, very honest about it. I did not experience difficulties at this center. But let me
Thank
be
you.
very
Let's
clear.
move on. Thank
Let
you.
me
But
let
let's
me
move
end
on.
my
That's it.
statement. So while I was in
Let's
Monrovia,
move on.
there were reports of many other areas where Liberians were encountering problems. There were reports of police arresting folks who had registered multiple times. So, on the basis of those things, it was concerning. There were areas where people went and they said the machine, there were no cards, there were no chips, and there were difficulties. However, it speaks to the government unpreparedness. One of the reasons why the registration had to be done in phases is because of the lack of logistics. We know NEC has been crying. The government is unable to provide the resources needed, the necessary funding to ensure that the proper people are trained, that there are enough staff and logistics is provided to have our people. This is one of the first time in post-war Liberia that we are going to have to register in phases. Imagine in 2011, with the Unity Party government first term coming to an end, where the country was not even open all over yet, we were able to register in mass numbers. We didn't do it, we didn't ration registration. But again, it speaks to the government. On preparedness, we've heard NEC crying. We've seen NEC officials appear at the legislature requesting for funding and resources they say have not been provided. This is nothing strange to us. We can go back even the data that we use in terms of voter registration from the conductor of the census. There's so many different things we can speak to. But I'll say this, we know that as the voter registration left Monrovia, and to my brother Kev, I just want him to understand the counties that were in the first phase, those counties are easily accessible. Now, the next phase of the voter registration is going to be challenging because some of those counties, getting to them will be difficult. And we just hope, for me, I think President George Weah has an obligation, and the National Elections Commission should do all it takes to ensure that all Liberians register for this process so that they can exercise their constitutional obligation. That's what I would say.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you so much. And Dr. Peabody?
Well, let me say this. I've been to Liberia. I was there last month. Did register, and the process was smooth. I mean, let me be realistic. Very smooth. Did not encounter. Did my register. I registered online. I had the barcode. I went right in, and they were able to retrieve my information and print the document. Like any system around the world, there will be some glitches. There will be problems, stuff like that. I think what NEC needs to do is to just ensure that those technical issues are addressed, and so that others can have the opportunity to register. If there's a particular area where the issue is really becoming a problem and people are not registering, and then I would advise that NEC, take an extra day, give them an extra day or two so that this can be resolved. But so far, I mean, the registration, I've seen somebody from others from political parties that have been to Liberia and have done the registration, and everything went really smooth. But I mean, when it comes to those kind of issue, technical issue will always come about. I mean, it's not the perfect ones, but all I can hope that they will ensure that those problems are resolved quickly and that people are able to register in the right way.
So, Dr. Peabody, just in response to what you just said, people are arguing in support for all the voters. This is not registering to vote, is not about party, it's about the citizens' right. So if there is a minute, an hour, or day lost, what people are saying is that give it back to the people. So if you
Absolutely.
have a technical glitch for one day, or your system was shut down for half a day, or 1 hour, or even 5 minutes, just give it back to the people.
I mean, I
And
agree with that. There should be some grace period, where 1 or 2 days, if 1 or 2 days was lost, it should be added. Absolutely, I agree with that. I mean, give it some day. You don't expect the machine to work 100% all over the place. That would be some problem. So if you had a day or two that was taken away, I'm in agreement that it should be given back to the people, so that everybody will have the chance to exercise their constitutional right. So.
Exactly. And Sylvester, go ahead. You mute.
Yes, thank you. I've been receiving a very wonderful feedback from across the country. Basically, from my home county, Lofa, and the rest of it, the folks are saying the process is very well smooth. And let me commend the Election Commission for conducting a process that is going the way it is going. Remember, the election process is time bound, and we should stop the shenanigans and focus basically and allow the Election Commission to carry on her job. Election process is very well time bound. So I think they're very well on course in terms of the process unfolding. And we Liberians should learn to stick via the policy issue that our Election Commission is given. The Election Commission is an independent body and doing an independent piece of job. Remember, even the Dominion voting system here admitted they got some problems. Smart Malik will say they got some problems. So there will always be technical glitches that will unfold in this kind of a process. But by and large, our election process is very well on course. Folks from the rural part of the country, those very difficult places to reach, they are conducting the voter registration process unhindered, very smooth. And let's commend the Election Commission for that. And again, it's part of the process about protecting the democracy, because this president believes in the democratization process of the republic. That's why he allowing the Election Commission to operate in a very smooth environment. The ambient is perfect, it's very okay, and that's why we're looking forward to join the process also soon. Remember here, it is a time-bound process here, so we should not try to score the thing. It went across, and if you were to even go, I would to go further to inform this platform that even Mosso Rado in recent times got a 14% increment in terms of our registration process. So the process is very well on course, and we should at least allow the election process to unfold without trying to politicize this issue. I would understand backstab or want to come with other political strategy to divert their attention, to bring some market range in the process. But I do believe, and the information we're getting from across the country, both from NIBA, from Lufa, from Grand's crew, River Says, part of the first 6 counties was very good. Bapple, right? Was very good. Most of our friends, relatives, and then other folks also informed us, because you remember, I was the head of the Neo Progressive Movement. So I speak to a lot of the folks in the hinterland, and they say to me that, hey, yes, the government people, the NEC people came, they are carrying on the folks are putting in to do the registration. And that's why even in those areas, because the background areas is seen as the low-fast terrain. The folks, if you were to see the background number went up by, I think, 6 or 7%. That's a good one, even in Kepma, and that of bombing also. So the process is very well on course. So I don't think we need to take into consideration this issue about election is about timetable. We cannot breach the process and expect to run into another timetable. But again, it is part of the very wonderful leadership process the government is providing to allow the Election Commission to operate under the ambience the election process is being operated under. So it's commendable, and we need to tap into those kind of issue about leadership and the line of giving support to democracy and the line of allowing folks to do their own participation. Remember here, to allow folks to exercise their political franchise is their constitutional responsibility that this president took oath to protect. The president said he will allow every Liberian whatsoever across the 15 political subdivisions to exercise their political right. That's why he provided the security ambience for the NEC to operate, and the Liberian people will move to do the voter registration process. So the process is very well on course.
Excellent. It's very much on course. But we have to remember, this is post-conflict Liberia. Under the Unity Party government, CDC was very vocal. So when it came to the voter registration process, when it came to the electoral process, they were very vocal, and rightfully so. If they see anything going on, yes, they should point it out, and they did. And then likewise, now that you have the CDC government, if people, like I said, and I've always been saying, let me finish, Mr. Peewee, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like I always said, for me personally, voter registration process should not be about party. It is about the citizens' rights. So whether you are with CDC, whether you are with Unity Party, Liberty Party, PUP, it doesn't matter which party you are from. It's about us, because we are all stakeholders in this. And if somebody has something to say, they should go ahead and say it, in the hopes that NEC will appropriately address these concerns. It's about the citizen and it's not about party. So we should not politicize the voter registration process. If things do go wrong, they should be pointed out. Just like how when things are right and they're done the right way, we should commend that and commend NEC for doing a good job as well. So it goes both ways. It should not be about party, but what is in the interest of the Liberian people under our constitution. Now, for this next round, and we got to keep cognizant of the time, we should give our argument, our closing argument for today, 2 minutes each, please. We're going to talk about NEC, but this last thing we're going to talk about is trucking. That's something we haven't talked about much. What is your view about trucking? We do hear a lot of people are trucking, people here and there, especially now that we have two phases. So with phase one over with, there are people now who are even trucking more so into the counties, taking people from Monserrate County, taking them to Nima, to Bon County, to the different 9 counties and what have you. So what is the danger, the pros and cons? Is there any pro for trucking? No, not according to our NEC guidelines, because even the National Elections Commission boss, about 3 weeks ago, she talked about that, and she even pointed out in Article 3, I think for his first Article 3.1, but Article 3, what she talked about the danger in trucking and asking the voters not to allow themselves to be trucked by politicians. So we're going to talk about this round, 2 minutes each person. This time we'll go to Keff. Oh, no, when we Keff first, we'll go to Dr. Peabody, we'll go to Sylvester, then we'll go and close on this round with George. The issue about trucking during this voter registration process.
The issue here about trucking is just the problem, the issue that across the board. Let me say that. Look, I was in Liberia. And I went to different places.
Right.
And I saw opposition, the current leadership, everybody was doing their own trucking. I don't think there is a law that limits people from going to where they want to register and vote. I don't think there is a law that limits them. So
there is. The law is on the book, Doctor. The commission, the NEC commission board even talked about it.
We can decide where to go and register to vote. I can decide to go to Bassa. I mean, I went to Orange Grove going to the Bassa area. That's where I registered to vote. I saw people coming from Monrovia. Most people said they prefer to vote in the town. Some other people go to other areas to vote. The issue here is a very complex issue. I don't think the law, if the laws are there, I don't think NEC even have the capacity to control it, on this trucking thing. But it's an issue across the board. People have found another way to really win the election. So even the ruling establishment, the opposition, they all are doing trucking. So it's a very complex issue, and the citizen or the people that live in those towns and villages are the ones that should be alert of those who are coming. But it's a very common thing. I saw people come with truck. They stop like about 15 minutes away from the registration site, and then they walk in and make sure the group and get registered. I mean, who's going to ask them? Is there anything that shows specifically that you are not from this town or you're not this person? It's a very complex issue, but unfortunately, people have found a way to get through with that.
Right. So there is a video. I'm not sure if our producer has that video with Davietta Brown talking about trucking. And while she was doing the voter and civic registration, she said to them, and I remember clearly what she said, since the National Elections Commission rules and regulation is there. And she pointed that out. And she said the issue of trucking is that for people who allow themselves to be trucked, number one, you take away your right as a voter to make your own decision as to who should be your lawmaker for that district, or who should be a lawmaker for a senator for your county. So that's the problem there. On the presidential level, it really doesn't matter, because no matter where you vote, on the presidential level, you're going to vote for your president of your choice. But the issue really boils down to the legislative votes. If you go somewhere else, you are taking decision away from that, from those voters in that community, as well as you are taking decision away from yourself and your ability to decide who should be your next leader as a lawmaker. So that's the danger in trucking. And Davietta Brown made it very, very clear as she was carrying out her voter and civic education. This was in April, where she talked to people and tried to tell the citizens, don't allow yourself to be trucked, because number one, is against the regulation, but number two, for your own personal right, you're taking away your right and somebody else's right. So next, we're going to go to Keff and then
it's not a major law in the country. So, I mean, it would be hard to control. NEC themselves have not put in place.
They may not be able to control it, but my point is the law is there. It's there. Those regulations are there. That's my point, and she said it. Next, we go to Keff and then George Lobo, and then we move on.
No, but you haven't.
Well, I don't.
Oh no, Keff and then Sylvester. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Well, I don't have any idea of your trucking thing you're talking about. Maybe happening within the circle of the Unity Party, but I don't have much idea about trucking. What I can tell you, the CDC are campaigning all over the country. Campaigning. That's what we're doing. We're doing it in Lofa, we're doing it in Nimba, all over the four corners. So trucking, maybe like you guys are the chief of trucking, but I don't have no idea on who trucking. I do have idea of Thomas Fala is campaigning in Lofa. It's there openly. You can see it. He's campaigning in Lofa. So maybe you want to tell us as a member of the JMB tag team, maybe you do have idea, but we don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, that's fine. Mr. Sylvester, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Let me amend Kev's last statement. Mr. Fala is not really campaigning, but he's involved in political consultation. He's conferring with the folks.
Yes,
and campaign has not started yet.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that's
what. You say he's campaigning.
You're right.
He's doing
No, it's not.
Regulations right now.
He's not campaigning. He's not
campaigning. You're right.
He's conferring.
All right. I kept saying it. That means he's going against NEC regulations.
No, he's not.
Well, I'm all the way. I'm down the ground. So
yes. So he's having.
Yes, right. It's not campaigning. Campaigning style. You're right. Thank you, Sylvester.
Yeah, he's doing what we refer to as political consultation. That's process that is currently unfolding. Now, so this issue here about this whole trucking thing. That's what as Kev said. There's a debate. Now, there was this debate that came out first on the issue about domiciliation as to where one domicile. And there's a debate, for instance, if I'm from Lofa, right? From the time in Lofa called Yela, I decided to say I do have some activities unfolding there, and I can move. And normally I do do my process in Lofa. So the process is the NEC is the one that would draw. NEC is the referee here. If there should be any process about trucking, NEC would say, hey, this is what happened. But it's difficult to even prove that someone is involved in trucking. That's the process. It's a very difficult, and again, it's a convoluted process here, right? It's difficult to find out that Jackie is involved in trucking and what have you. How do you know that Jackie is doing this or doing that? So that the whole thing, folks should concentrate basically on the process about these are issues that would distract folks and the rest of it. I wouldn't support if something of such, I wouldn't do that. But bulk of the folks that are involved into it, I was hearing that the folks are craving because they want to unseat most of the ruling establishment lawmaker. So they are taking people involved. So I think the opposition camp is basically involved into these things, and I want to encourage them to stop. It's not helping them. They're still going to get defeated despite being involved into this kind of a mischief.
But Sylvester, I've seen. I can name you folks that I saw from even the ruling party. So I said
That would be new. That would be news to me. I haven't heard such because everyone from the ruling party. Yes, what's going to happen, Dr. Peabody? The process from the ruling party. Everyone from the ruling party is basically going to get elected or re-elected on the basis of the record of the current government.
Okay.
This president. That's why I said to folks the last time we have some debate here. This president is basically going to get elected on his record. What he's done for the people in terms of infrastructure development, in terms of taking the folks from poverty, developing new markets, developing schools, improving the educational sector, trying to ensure that we build state-of-the-art hospitals and the rest of that, connecting our feeder roads, farm to market road, our community roads, and what have you. So there's no reason why you do all of these things and then worry about re-election process. So the president is basically going to get elected on the basis of what he's done, his record. So the whole thing about trucking, and I will say this clearly.
Sylvester, we are talking about trucking. So conclude on trucking. That's what we're talking about, and then
I'll respond to Dr. Peabody about his concern. That's what I said. I think there's no reason why anyone from the ruling establishment will engage into or indulge into trucking activities and the rest of it. So if there's trucking, I'm told heavily that folks from the opposition side basically involved. So Jackie, you should be telling us and the Unity Party folks to stop some of these things, because basically both of the folks from your Unity Party are currently involved into these kind of unscrupulous activities, and it's wrong. We need to condemn that, right? So to stop these things and the rest of it. And I hope with your time you also comment on some of these things to ask them to stop, to disengage from doing this kind of issue, because it's robbing the voters from the opportunity they intend to engage with the process, right? So it is important here. But folks from the ruling establishment are bent on what we call policy issue, generating unique policy processes and not concentrating on the process about doing trucking and the rest of it. No, they're bent on creating the welfare process of the people and the rest of it. So that's the baseline of it. Yes.
Mr. George, hey, you got your hands full. Keff and Sylvester are saying it's the opposition that's doing the trucking.
I like it.
You know, Jackie, I find it quite.
Both Keff and George are saying it's the opposition that's doing the trucking.
I find it quite embarrassing and shameful that we will sit on these platforms and people will bring party talking points and spewing lies. For example, Dr. Peabody, let's be honest here. There has been reports and pictures of former Assistant Minister Nathaniel McCay moving people into Margibi. And for Sylvester to sit here and say the things he's saying to the Liberian people is a true representation of the government.
Show the picture.
Let me listen, Kev. We have
I
understand you. You have that, Georgie. Georgie, I know you.
Kev, you are not interrupted to not interrupt George.
This is supposed to be an intellectual platform. Let me speak.
Georgie,
the former government official was speaking. Let me. Jackie, I think you are the moderator, Dr. Peabody. This is your platform. The Liberian people must be respected, even if they're not respected by the president who gives support. I will not take it. We are here to speak to national issues and what the people.
We cannot do this today.
This level of
we're not allowed lies.
Yeah. I think on the issue of lying, we know who.
When it's your turn to speak. When it's your turn to speak, you can rebuttal, but there will be no interruption. That is the rule for today.
Was extended, and we know that it was a lie.
Kev, you have to give them a chance to talk, Kev. You can't do that.
This is very disrespectful, Kev. You need to respect the Liberian people. So let me proceed. We know who lied.
If you lie to the Liberian people, you disrespect them.
We know who wrote the Liberian Senate and said the Paris conference was extended. And that was not true. So we know who lies. The records are there. You know, I find it fascinating to listen to my brother Sylvester with this much confidence and passion to spew out campaign talking points with no facts. I think as we proceed doing these conversations, when you say President Weah is lifting people out of poverty, you're professional. Poverty is measured. I'll give you an example and hope you will proceed down that path next time. When the Unity Party government came into power, the national poverty rate was 68.0%. When we gave the country to the CDC, the national poverty rate was at 50.4%. That is how we should be speaking. Sadly for us, by 2019, the national poverty rate was at 55.5%. Now, don't quote me. The World Bank and the IMF 2020 report said 350,000 to over 600,000 Liberians fell below the poverty line. These are not our own. These are not campaign talking points. I don't come to discuss national issues based off of mere opinions. So I would recommend, when you state the president is doing well, for the basis, Jackie, he spoke a lot on the basis of re-election.
George, we are only concluding on. George, we are concluding
and giving a lot of misinformation.
Let me finish. Let's stick to trucking.
George.
So on the issue of trucking, Jackie, the reason why I brought it up, he said our opposition.
Sylvester, let him conclude.
Sylvester, you gotta be disciplined, sir. I was very disciplined when you were talking. Sylvester stated that it is the opposition folks that are trucking people because we are afraid. And he went on to say, because of President Weah's record, that's why they will be reelected. And that's how he went on with his talking points. So let me correct that. I know what he said. So there's a reason why you see me writing when you're talking. So I will say this to you, Jackie. On the basis of trucking, when I spoke at CO, where I engaged a lot of Liberians, I've been very, very clear. I've always said that the act of trucking is bad. I've always said that that in itself is an act of corruption. And I said that Liberians should begin to take responsibility for their own actions because they themselves, that is how they start being corrupt. Because if you allow yourself to be moved from the district you live to another district, you yourself, you participate in a corrupt act. Because if you register in district number 8, you have no business moving to go to Nima County again to go register for $20. And I condemn the act of trucking. I condemn anyone who would truck people. People must run on their records. I have been on the record for saying it. These are not things we have to come here to lie about. On the basis of re-election, Jackie, I want to be very clear. I think the Liberian people, the Liberian economy, the pocketbooks, our young people, they can tell based on the fact. And I hope that when we speak to these national issues now, let's provide the facts on it. Let's provide the numbers to that. Not opinion, no stuff. We have reports.
Okay.
Let's look.
Okay. So we are done with the next issues. The next topic on our rundown is the president just, of course, dismissed his Minister of Telecommunications, Mr. Cooper Kura, and now he has a new Minister of Telepost and Telecommunications, who is Councillor Wally Sewa Duna. So we're going to talk about that. That was quick. Why did he dismiss him? Why did he find a reason to dismiss Mr. Kura? Of course, according to the Constitution, the president does not need a reason. He can go to sleep and wake up in the morning and say, look, I don't want this person in this position anymore. Let's go ahead and replace that person. He really does not need a reason. But is there a reason why he did dismiss Councillor Kura of his post? Because up until Friday evening, he was still the minister. Up until the weekend, he was still the minister. Is there a reason why he did that? Did he give reason? Of course, he's not obligated to give a reason. The president is not obligated to give that reason at all. So we'll go ahead and talk about it. Sylvester, we'll come to you first.
Oh, yes.
And what are we seeing in the photo right there? Okay, there we go. Councillor Cooper Kura, of course, his daughter.
That's a new
he was at an event on Saturday. So what was that reason for the dismissal? Did he give a reason? Did the president give a reason?
So this news is just breaking from my end, but first and foremost, that means Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Let me commend the president for the appointment of former Representative Wadius Siwa Dunan, a very dedicated, measured individual, very competent, and I believe in him. He believes in the struggle, and let me commend the president for appointing him. a very genuine son from Niba County also. Now, this is what I said. You cannot be, I think, the process about what we call well-scripted hypocrisy is what sometimes permeates through the structure of our governance system. You cannot be part of a system of a cabinet and you try to undermine the people of Liberia. I think the former minister, Crow, will have to repent. You have to go and apologize to the people of Liberia for being the kind of because this is a very huge disappointment here. You cannot be an active serving cabinet minister at the same time trying to undermine the people of the republic. And remember here, and I like how you ended it. First and foremost, you stated that the president got no explanation. Article 54 of the Constitution gave the president the powers to appoint government officials from the cabinet all the way down to a lieutenant in the military. And Article 56 of the same Constitution of the Republic gave the president that same powers that every minister that he appoints, those that he appointed, serve at the will and pleasure of the president. So we are not going yet to caution that constitutional authority. But what I'm saying, I'm disappointed in this individual, former Minister of Kra, because he's a very dishonest individual. You cannot be that dishonest. You can be ungrateful to the people of the republic. You cannot serve. It's terrible. Now, if you were to go through a structure of a system, the state is a huge structure, and the governance part of the state, the president is the chief administrator of the state. You are there as part of the exonerate, ensuring that those functions of the president. That's why if you are to take on a job from the president, you agree to work for the people of Liberia. To be blatantly ungrateful, to undermine the legacy of the people, it is tantamount to the kind of a level he found himself today. You cannot do that. Even future administration will not trust you. This is terrible. Jackie, I understand you are an individual that acted and played a role in other state bureaucracy before. You work with the former government. You interacted with the former administration. You understand the structural bureaucracy of governance and the governance process. You cannot do that. Even President Salih wouldn't have continued a second of keeping Sir President in her administration. I do understand that. I was very active in pro-democracy work at the time of President Eddie Johnson Sirleaf. It's just like people try to take advantage of this president being overly magnanimous, being overly, he's a very thoughtful leader. It's a kind of a situational leader and a servant leader that intends to serve his people. That's why people take advantage of his goodwill. This magnanimous gesture and the posture that he portrayed there, that's what people take advantage of. But this is not, he was not doing this to the president. The president moved because he was trying to undermine the sovereignty of the republic, the people of Liberia. You cannot do that. We need to be very, and that's why even in the great United States where we are today, the process of America is about to be very nationalistic to the society, to the country. And that's why we should portray. It should not come and bring the kind of a ninja approach of being sycophantic and opportunistic. You see, these kind of opportunistic attitude, we have to remove them from the system. That's why the country is not moving forward. He's done that. He's a huge opportunist, right? A huge opportunist that were trying to undermine the legacy of the people of Liberia. I mean, I'll commend the president for this. That's one of the best issues I will always celebrate to this, having this miss, because he's one of those knee-jerk elements that were trying to portray some negative thing on the cloud of the Republic of Liberia. It's unfortunate. It's quite unfortunate. And let me commend the president for the appointment.
All right, Keff, then George, and then Dr. Peabody.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, Keff, and then George, and then Dr. Peabody. On the issue of
George,
the new minister.
George was talking about McCay and others. I want George to show me where Unity Party rally you saw Gantel McCay where he was appointed as assistant minister that he served, I think, less than 6 months or so. I want George to show me anybody that Kupo Kra did. Take this from the folks. Let me speak to the Liberian people. You are a senior cabinet minister. You sit at cabinet meeting. You went at a retreat in Basso. You were right there clapping when they're talking about the government is corrupt. You're clapping. So why you stay there? You shall resign and say, I cannot be in the government that corrupt. You clapping, you jubilating because they're saying the president is corrupt. That's your boss. So why you stay there? So like Sylvester said, when I heard it coming on air, one of my happiest moments. This is some of the reason we support this president, for his smart decision, timely decision. We cannot run a country like this. Even though the defense, the Secretary of Defense that Obama retained when he came to power, never took part in any political rally. Even some of the people from the other Republican that was still around, no way. To keep an opposition in the government, for example, the minister of Agriculture, she's not from the ruling party, but she's still there. We can count them. But to take part in whatever they call it on that Friday against the government, against the president, we have people there saying a lot of insulting things against the president, and he clapping. Yeke Kolba were on that stage, basically insulting the president. He clapping. The man clapping. Y'all will keep him there? How will you keep a man where Yeke Kolba is basically insulting the president, he clapping, though he's a senior cabinet minister, attend cabinet meeting, retreat, everything. So I commend the president. One of the president's strengths that I always admire, his judgments. The judgment. Well timely. And I will say thank you to this president. You cannot run the government like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm in on the matter. The president didn't fire Minister Kura because of his incompetence, of lack of, performance on the job, or corruption, or anything that we know of, because from everywhere, all the talking points we seeing, including Representative Gray, he posted on his page that Minister Kura should be dismissed of his position because he attended an event. So go ahead and pick up on that.
So Jackie, this is not strange to us. Less than 4 months into this administration, their vice president went to Bon County and told our people that it was their time, and that for you to serve, you must join them. That's what she said. Joel Howard Taylor, Vice President Taylor. So this is nothing strange. This is about them. Again, we saw what happened when Mo Ali attended the June 7 protest. Liberians have the right to petition their government. He participated. He was forced. His assignment was changed. Look, I will say this. Minister Kura was not dismissed on the basis of poor performance. He was not dismissed on the basis of incompetence. Let records show that he was dismissed because of affiliation. Why it is true, they all work at the will and pleasure of the president, but I think President Weah, as a Liberian, I heard my brother here stating that he's a man of peace. He was this and that of peace, but he could not state any accomplishment as peace ambassador. Never, nothing. He was peace ambassador. The only thing he did, wasted taxpayers' money by hosting one soccer game. He brought Okosha into Monrovia.
So he pivoted. You allowed to pivot.
So I would say this to you. Look, Keff Hassan.
Keff,
Keff, I think you need to learn to be respectful, man. You've done this for so
No,
long.
but,
You should grow up in this process now.
no, speak on this. Speak
Yeah.
on this
No,
issue.
I don't.
No,
I would say this. That's intolerance. You can't do that, Kev. We are on a major
Your
stage.
moderator said that. She said that. Just calling her
Oh,
attention.
go ahead.
You
Go
can't be
ahead.
interrupting me. It's disrespectful, Kev.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm always
ahead,
muted. If you look
George,
like
because we about to the time for time and conclude on
So I would say this
and
again.
conclude on the Minister
Yeah,
Kura
but
issue
if
matter.
Jackie, I think
There it is, right there on the screen, where Representative
Jackie,
Gray did release a statement.
I'll leave this tough conversation.
So go ahead and conclude on that.
Because
No, Charles, complete your statement. Complete.
Yeah, so I would just say this, man. Minister Kura has his right.
No, we want you to finish what you were saying. Yeah.
Okay, so let me again, I say this. My brother Kev asked, did we see Minister McCay when he was assistant minister go to UP event? No, he was not required to, because he was not a Unity Party partisan. The government does not belong to one party. That is what we're trying to communicate to you. That because you belong to this party and you're in a government does not mean that you should neglect your party. That is all we are saying. Having said that, they work at the will and pleasure of the president. President George Weah, in terms of making good judgment, we know his decision making. It is very, very clear. And I'm glad that you spoke of the Minister of Agriculture that is stayed there. Sadly for you, Kev, the Minister of Agriculture was indicted by your own government GSC report for corruption. President Weah has good judgment but refused to act. So we can go on and speak to those things, but I'll just say, Minister Kura, this is the system, this is the culture, this is the president we have. Whatever President Weah wants to do, that is what he's going to do. And again, it's just sad for other Liberians who are in government. People must not lose jobs because of their affiliation. People must not lose jobs because they belong to a certain religion or they belong to a certain tribal group because they come from a certain region. I think all Liberians have the right, it is their country, to serve. They have the right to affiliate. Like the Constitution says, it protects your right to associate and disassociate. I don't think it was necessary for the president to dismiss him for this reason. Moreover, after it came from Akara's Moses grading that he should be dismissed, I think President Weah could have taken different steps. He could have asked him to resign instead of just going and say, well, I dismiss you because you went to UP event. Other than that, if that's his justifiable reason, now leave it with the Liberian people to make a decision for themselves.
Also, let me say this.
Okay.
I think the optics for the minister, the optics was bad. You know, especially coming from the government, the ruling establishment, and you are part of the cabinet. And part of the thing that was being said there today, you control those areas. And to stand there and be clapping, you know, cheering thing. I know. I think the optics was bad, but I think the president should have just let it slide. You got 4.5 months for election. I don't think it was warranted to remove him at this time. But I think the optic was bad. He made a bad decision to go to that program. He could still be an independent and stay away and just say, you know what, I'm part of the Unity Party. I'm not going to go there because of my job. I mean, we're talking about your job here. You're talking about your daily bread. You're talking about what you're getting from. You'd rather sacrifice your job and go to a program and be fired, stuff like that. I mean, let's be honest here. If this was even in the U.S., he could have been fired. You know, because some of the statement that was made at that rally had to do with some of the very minister, the function that would, some of the dysfunction that will talk about in the CDC government. You, the very minister there, had some of those errors. And I don't think he should have done it. He took a risk. And again, if you ask me personally, if our president we are with 4.5 months of election, I will not focus on that, because you know what Prince Johnson going to align you to? Prince Johnson said the people of Nima, you fire the people of Nima. You don't like the people of Nima, so you want to fire some people. Prince Johnson is going to align you to that, you know. And with 4 months of election, I won't do that. But I think the minister took a risk. He took a risk. I mean, he should have just played low and stay back. I don't think he should have gone there. You know, that wouldn't have taken away his loyalty. I mean, there are a lot of people at that program that probably work for the government, but you know what? Because they were laymen, so nobody will even pay attention to them. But you're the minister, you went there, but I think he should have just stay away. I think the optics were just bad for him as a minister. Yeah. Jackie, are you there? Jackie, we can't hear you.
Mute.
Now, in my turn, I will go further to encourage and reinforce not only freedom of speech, but also freedom of political assembly.
Hear me now?
Now, in my turn, I will go further to encourage and reinforce not only freedom of speech, but also freedom of political assembly.
I don't know how people have to twist their mind.
I don't know what's going on.
I will not hear you, but
We can hear you.
we can hear you, Jackie.
Jackie, you live?
No, I don't think Dr. Peabody.
He's back.
I don't know what's going on.
We can hear you.
We can hear you now, Jackie.
But she's not seeing the video.
I think her internet is.
Mhm.
Okay, so what's the next topic that we're supposed to?
No, but listen, Dr. Peabody, this topic, what did they show the president say? I don't know what they're trying to say. That's you know, freedom.
It's a reminder of his promises to the Liberian people.
What are the promises?
And what he was going to do as head of state.
But
He spoke
that's
of-
what he
Hold
doing.
on now, and you ask the question.
Okay,
when
go ahead.
people ask questions,
Go
the
ahead.
expectation is that they listen. So during his statement,
Mhm.
some of the basic things he said he was going to do.
Like
The
what?
reason why there's that, Kev, let me finish now. You asked a question.
Mhm.
Let me just say this. So he promised Liberian people that he also will encourage the freedom of political assembly. So that means, hold on now, that means if I belong to this party, I have the right to assemble with them. In that statement, he also said that day, that was one of the days he promised Liberians that they would not be spectators in their economy. He
Listen.
said he was going to ensure that the life of our people improve. And what I want to hear when I hear people, surrogates of the government speak, is I want to hear you people articulate what he has done that matches up to what he said on January 22nd, 2018. Those are the things, those are the arguments I really look forward to this intellectual discussion should be. Not political talking points. President Weah is doing this.
Josh,
I want to hear substance.
Josh, let me bring this to your attention clearly and say to you, when the president spoke about allowing Liberians to exercise their thought process in terms of freedom, Article 15 of the Constitution of the Republic, the president was very clear. Now, the president do have, how does the process about the way we generate policy mechanism in the Republic? It is true the president via his cabinet will spread those things. If you are a member of the cabinet and trying to undermine that same policy prescription, I mean, John, we have to be very focused here. You cannot undermine. That is not the issue of freedom of speech or freedom of affiliation or association.
That is quite different. It's quite different.
It is about.
So, Sylvester, can I ask you a question?
I come in, please, 1 minute. It's about an agent of the president trying to be part of a process to disseminate a policy prescription that is being generated from the presidency. If you undermine that, it is tantamount of undermining the people of Liberia.
So can I ask you now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Louis Brown, he was information minister in the UP government.
Yes.
Was he a Unity Party member?
No. Yeah. Let me answer you. No, he was not a Unity Party member. Go ahead.
Nathaniel Falomage, he worked in the UP government for more than. Let me finish.
When you saw them on the rallies,
Listen.
Let me finish my statement.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes,
Go ahead.
you have
Hold
me
on, let me
correct.
finish. Yes.
Nathaniel Falomage worked in the UP government for more than 6 months. He was assistant minister. Did he affiliate or associate with the CDC then?
Okay, I come quickly. Good, very wonderful question. When Nathaniel McCay was being considered as the SG of the CDC, what he did, he resigned his position.
he resigned.
Listen, that's not that's not the question.
Resigned. Come on.
Listen, I asked you a specific question. I don't have the time to play.
Nobody playing here, George.
Was
Nobody
he a
playing
member of the CDC? Does he associate with the CDC then? The party
No.
CDC?
He did
I asked
not.
for position.
He did not.
Was he?
Lieutenant McCay, when he took on party responsibility, wherein he would have affiliated conspicuously with the CDC,
he resigned.
He resigned. That's why.
You know
But
that
okay, when George Weah was peace ambassador, did he associate with the CDC or not?
No, let me say this to you. The role
answer the question.
No, you didn't understand the.
Maybe you need to understand the role of the peace ambassador.
You need to understand the bureaucratic responsibility of the peace ambassador.
But I thought he said the man working in the same government again.
The peace ambassador role given to Ambassador Weah because he track record. President Salif.
He was appointed by President
Why you
Salif.
lying here for like that? You know what?
I think this conversation is weak.
He was appointed for budget allocated for that.
He was allotted a budget over $500,000 in
That's not true.
There was a budget for $500,000.
That's not true. That is not true. That is not true. I challenge that's not true. Then I work. Then I work with the.
I think that Bremby would deserve.
I worked then with the General Auditing Commission. There was nothing of such. The amount of money when they organized that Peace Festival, at the time there was an amount of I think $80-something thousand out of.
Okay, the fact that you say I think you don't have the facts when you
right.
Come back with it.
It was not a 500,000. It was no 500,000. It was no 500,000.
Jackie is back. Let's go to the topic. Let's get back to the topic.
Well, that was a crossfire moment.
Okay. Yeah, but I think there was a budget. There was at least 500,000 allocated for that peace ambassador.
It was 500,000.
The people credibility is not the people party.
What budget line fall under?
It was 500,000.
What budget line? Show the budget line, the 500,000.
Well,
No. You don't go. What budget line fall under?
It falls under the Ministry of Internal Affairs.
Hey, let's see. Let's see it.
Jackie, work with our government. She can tell you.
Jackie, take your computer. Jackie,
is a distracting tactic for these citizens.
Jackie, take your computer and show me the budget line it fall under. In what year? The 500,000.
But that's not true. That's not true. There was no 500,000 allotted. No 500,000.
But
you see, I think we are missing the point.
Minister Peewee, let's ask them to tell the budget line and what year.
I think we are missing the point here. Was the optics right for Minister Krause to go to that program? I would say no.
Thank you.
Does the president have the prerogative to fire him? I would say yes. So
yes.
I'm not sure what was right here interesting.
But I was very clear.
Dr. Peabody, go ahead.
No, I was very clear, Jackie, by saying that Peabody, even though some things may be legally right, you see, sometimes people look at when you hear they argue law and they say they will argue and say it has been customary. They would use the word tradition. They will say it is principle. Because you know what, Peabody? Are we saying if, for example, Peabody was made president, anyone who work in your government, they will have no right to affiliate with their party again? Is that the system we want now?
I'm not saying that.
No, but I'm saying, so that's where we are coming from. So it's bad because not only that, it's unfortunate that on one hand, they want to argue that this man was this peace ambassador, a man of peace, a man who was charged with the responsibility in fostering reconciliation, in unifying the country. This is a man under his leadership now that you no longer have the right to associate or affiliate with your political party.
But George,
what we are saying is, I'm not saying it is not his right to fire, but sometimes it's to encourage and look at opposition. That's why I use my unity party government. We had tolerance. We ensured that all Liberians work in the government and they could go to their party.
I had a way of dealing with y'all. I mean, this is the way of president.
And Dr. Peabody, y'all hold your thought. The producer has a video where on the president's inauguration, where he did talk about political party affiliation and people working in his government. The producer would like to share that video. Go ahead, producer.
Okay.
Now, in my turn, I will go further to encourage and reinforce not only freedom of speech, but also freedom of political assembly.
There you go. The president is on record where he said he encourages not only freedom of speech, but political affiliation assembly. He said that.
So that means, so Jackie, that means he's saying that if you member of the executive branch, a senior minister.
Jackie,
That's what he's saying.
Jackie,
you're confusing yourself.
But Jackie, the UP just had a political assembly. The anybody violate them?
Exactly. Yeah, but now a man who supported UP went there and he got fired.
No.
A man who supported UP went there got fired.
Jackie, yes, the Constitution. What the president said. What the president said, Jackie. The president.
I'm gonna spend 2 more minutes on this topic and then we're moving on. Go ahead, Sylvester. And then
so I'm gonna get justification for that thing, Jackie. You are not here. You are issuing. That little matter. He said something about it.
It is the prerogative of the president.
Sylvester, I don't know you are defending what the president just said.
The man a former minister.
Listen, yes, Jackie. The president stated emphatically that he would provide the ambience for everyone to do freedom of association, right? But there's a thin line. When you are a policy maker in the government serving the people of the Republic of Liberia. And that's why I stated, Jackie, when you were off the show, when McCay was elected Secretary General of the then opposition CDC, he was Assistant Minister of the Ministry of Internal Affairs. Assistant Minister.
He went to his own political rallies.
He resigned. No, he did not. When he was serving openly, he did not attend rally against the administration.
No,
he did not.
No.
And Jackie, we need to be very clear and frank here, Jackie. Jackie, he did not attend any rally to undermine the administration.
Any rally. Can I ask Jackie? Can I ask my senior?
Jackie, you know. All right, we said 1 minute each.
Yeah, so let me say this to them. Look, Jackie, I think this is the problem. Here's what has happened. The Liberian people must understand. You bring a government that is incompetent, unprofessional, unethical to power, these things will happen. Because even the former, I recall I was in Monrovia when Charles Taylor was president. There were people who was in his government that were not members of the MPP. They were in Taylor's government. And I never, ever saw any problem with their affiliation. A government that is incompetent, that is struggling, that is at the verge of collapse, these things will worry you. So again, I would just say the Liberian people will have to. This is their own doing, and they are just reaping the benefit of what they sow. But I'll say this to President Weir. Look, every Liberian should be given the opportunity to serve, regardless of their party of affiliation. You can't say you will go further by encouraging political assembly. The people that go to assembly, Peabody, that gathering. So how can we gather if you're in government, you're from the party, you can't go there? So what are you encouraging? Based on his own words. What we are saying is we are only trying to match President Weir's
10 more seconds.
January 22nd, 2018, to how he has performed and how he has delivered the Liberian. That's all the people doing. And I think I want to thank the producer for bringing that video. It's just a reminder.
But you promoted the president just now. The video was meant for the president to say Liberians are allowed to exercise their political franchise. Liberians are allowed to move across the political line. The Liberians are allowed to go through a political process and express their opinion. Their thought process should be balanced. That's what the president amplified. That's why he amplified.
I don't think that video really had any impact on Kura being fired. I think Kura took a political risk and that ended his job, and he shouldn't have. If I was the one, I could still support my party and know that if I show up somewhere, that could be look. There are folks who work for the government or work for a local state government. I work for a local state government. You're not allowed to go certain places. You could take the risk, but if you get caught of certain things, you could end up being fired from your job and things like that. So why take that risk? Even though I support certain things, but why should I want to do that? So he took a political risk that ended his job. The president has his own power to fire and to hire. So there's nothing.
One last question before we move on. It's just a yes or no. Will this have any political backlash against President Weah for firing on Nimadian? As people see it now, that on the social media, this is someone who is from Nimba. The President Weah is asking for the Nimba votes. Is this going to have any political backlash?
Actually, no.
I would say yes.
No.
I would say yes. Prince Johnson and he played book.
No. Yes, why?
But y'all listen to Sylvester. I want to hear from the man.
Yes, why? It won't have no impact whatsoever. Yes, why? The president appointed a very strategic son from Nimba County, one that commandeered huge respect for Nimba across the
and won election in Nimba.
The individual that plays strategic role in our legislative program for the past 12 years.
So
beyond that,
is Councillor Duna from Nimba County?
He's an SS baggage.
Is he from Nimba? No, I don't know where he's from. That's what I'm asking.
Councillor who?
Duna, the person he replaced. Councillor.
He's a former lawmaker.
He's not only from Nimba, but he's one of the strategic son from Nimba.
Okay.
You know. Wow. Okay, let me say this, Jackie.
You got to be desperate with 5 months to go, and
he's a strategic son, and that's it, Jackie. The most important part of it, he crossed across all of the political divide. He's one of those intellectual. He came back as an intellectual. Now not intellectual. He's part of the class that brought about multi-partyism and pluralistic democracy in Liberia.
All right, so
he crossed across there.
Jackie, let me say something to you. Jackie, I want to ask my brother again. I repeat.
Yeah.
Pee-wee, I think it's important when we come to these conversations for us to at least have some of the facts with us.
Mm-hmm.
Chairman not Moluba, Nathaniel McCay was chairman of the CDC when he was in the UP government.
No.
Is that correct?
No, it's not correct.
Judgy, man, you can.
The
reason why I asked you, listen,
that's not correct,
Jackie.
And I'm saying this is not correct.
It's in Nimba right now, right? This notion.
When the Molu become chairman of this firing after the election.
Who?
No, he was chairman for CPP, Kev.
Molu was chairman for CPP.
Now Molu, I said McCay was chairman.
McCay was not chairman. McCay was not assistant minister.
Who was the chairman of CDC? Don't worry.
He was not assistant minister when he was chairman of the CDC. He was.
No, he was not.
When he was elected secretary general, he resigned.
You said again, McCay. Now there's no video. There are a lot of things you say you just hearing here, so I will proceed like this.
No. You coming out with half-baked information.
It's not half-baked because you continue to argue that McCay did not affiliate with the CDC, and I told you it was a lie. I just don't want to.
I did not say that. I did not say McCay did not affiliate with the CDC.
Listen, don't do that, man.
I did not say that.
Sylvester, slow down. I asked you. I was specific in my question, my line of questioning to you, and I asked you. I said when Nathaniel McCay was serving the Unity Party government. Did he attend any CDC engagement? Did he attend CDC rallies? Did he affiliate with the CDC?
And I said to you,
no, let me finish, sir. I know what you stated here. I know what you stated here. You said in your answer to me that when McCay was about to be appointed as Secretary General, he did not. I knew that you didn't want to answer the question. I know you very well. So just put it aside.
But how do I answer the question?
And that's the question I ask you. So I know why. Because affiliation or association means you have to be part of your party. And the reason why, if this man was fired because he affiliated at his party event, then how is it we were tolerant of McCay that he could go to CDC, he could go to your headquarters, he could affiliate with the CDC, yet he did not get fired. It just speaks to the two governments. That's why I was trying to show. But you were calculative when you said, you know what, when McCay was trying to be appointed, he did not do it. I left it with you because I know
it is not that the basis. It is not. Josh, it is not the basis of affiliation. It is not the basis. It is not the basis. Josh,
the truth is not you guys' position. I know the CDC. So let me answer the question on this.
Josh, it is not
that Duna is strategic.
10 more seconds on this topic.
Great. This man is a former lawmaker. If he was that productive, he would still be serving today. There are other lawmakers.
And let me inform you, he did not go for elections. He decided to not contest.
Listen.
Let me inform you.
Listen,
you don't know him.
He saw his vision.
No.
I will say this to you.
No, he said.
Okay, listen.
Yes.
In Liberia, Dr. Peabody, a certain lawmaker
who
will say, I see vision. I will say this to you. Pee-wee, that decision for President Weah, if I was advising him, I would not have taken it.
It's a very strategic and very wonderful
decision. Right?
Yeah.
It's constitutional right.
I would have let it slide because it's just 4 month election.
It doesn't matter. You can't undermine the people of Liberia and let that slide.
Gentlemen,
fair
for the
enough.
Crossfire edition, at this time talking about the hiring and the firing of the Post and Telecom Minister. Now we're going to move on to the next topic, which is trending for today. That is Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings, the Senate bearer for the ANC party, who had a lot to say in the 20 to 30 minute speech today, a whole lot he had to say. And I cannot wait to hear what Sylvester and what Keff have to say about in response to Mr. Cummings' speech. Our producer has a clip of it. Can you go ahead and show it? And then we'll open the discussion. Producer in studio, are you ready? Okay, apparently they are not ready. But today, I don't know how many did everybody listen to the speech today. He said a whole lot. He talked about corruption. He talked about the government being rotten. He said if the fish is rotten from the head, then the whole body will be rotten. I mean, he really talked a lot. His speech was heavily loaded today. Until the producer is ready to show that video, what do you have to say about Mr. Cummings' speech? We're going to go with Dr. Peabody, Sylvester, George, and then Keff.
I did not listen to the speech, and to be honest, I will try to follow up with it tonight. So I really cannot speak much to it. I didn't listen, but we know that Mr. Cummings is very detailed when it comes to speaking on things, saying what he will say, and so I don't have much to say. I didn't listen to the speech today, so I'm not going to dive into anything that evening. Yeah. So who next? Am I next, Joe?
I think it was Sylvester.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I did not listen. Also, I don't have the details surrounding the speech actually, and I've just got the information via this network. But it's quite unfortunate as to some of the things she just summarized in her last monologue before she went off the line. It was part of the process about coming up with someone that is dishonest, that is very desperate for naked power, if you will. So trying to portray a lot of things. Now, how do you portray this government to be rotten? This one of the establishment in terms of our governance system that have been very open-minded, very focused, and very people-oriented in terms of our modern Liberian democracy, right? So, but again, before I can really go deeper into trying to dismantle this speech, I need to have a total understanding of the speech, basically. But by and large, it would say to you that this man is desperate for power, and through his desperation, he will go at length to say anything, even if you are saying things that are far from the reality. Yes, you have a system that we try to put cultural value to bear, a system that we met with trying to put a system, the very system that he didn't have into place before. When he left the country more than 4+ decades, he spent outside of Liberia, he was out of touch with the people, right? And it's because of that desperation, that frustration, and he's disgruntled and somehow disillusioned about the way the governance system is now going, because the president is focused on doing the people's job, right? So he's bitter about that. He's had absolutely no chance of even this election. He had no chance whatsoever even coming distant fourth, if you will. Maybe he's going to be. So that's the part of the line to come and say a government that the establishment process is very well on course in terms of the Committee of Nations. The last time the U.S. Secretary of State referred to our country as a genuine partner to global partnership and the rest of it, that our relationship have gone to to all-time very wonderful relationship that has subsisted between our country. To say our country is rotting, that country that is playing a pivotal role globally. We're part of the Committee of Nations. Our network in terms of global prescription, our policy prescription in terms of international connectivity is well on course. Bilateral process, multilateralism is also well on course. In terms of the structure of the economy, we try to reduce inflation, if you will. The Minister of Finance and his team, via the President's guardianship and the process of that, we reduce significantly inflation. The budget is performing very well. The American ambassador in recent time commended the LRA. We're doing very well in terms of our budget performance process. We're doing well in terms of our social services being connected to the folks. We're doing well in terms of that. The very county, Mr. George Lobo and myself phone. The first time since 1964, we've never seen a paved road.
Which county?
When I was small coming up quickly, when the rain is terrible, the mud, when it's during the dry season, the dust will affect our people. So to say a system is rotting, all those things are structurally in place. I think you have to, something may have happened to him to say that. Probably he took something that is beyond the reason of men to come and conclude that the system is unfortunate. And part of the statement, I'm informed also, he's also took shot at Joseph Boakai. He said Boakai had a corrupt process for 12 years and Boakai is something else. So, I mean, these are things that he was saying maybe in the past. But to come and want to contemplate that now, I think he's misplaced, and it's part of the reason why he's going to be massively defeated this election again. He got absolutely no chance in the bottom part of the country. It's part of the frustration that is not carrying him to make those kind of a loose statement that is absolutely no control of understanding to pair the country. The brother is peaceful, very peaceful, genuinely secure. Okay. The ambient is on course.
So you got
the economy is very well on course in terms of that. To come and say the country is socially and structurally something, I mean, it's unfortunate. I think something may have happened to him, and we need to repair that damage, basically.
Okay, so our producer is getting their video clip ready. Go ahead, George, and then we talk to Kev and Sylvester. It will be good to have you back because we're going to have a closing argument there where we just focus on the differences between the different standard bearers, because I mean that's what the closing argument is about. It's about people coming on and representing on behalf of their party and giving their case, their closing arguments every day, every week as to why the Liberian people should choose President Weah. Why should they choose the Senate bearer, the United Party, Joseph Newman Boyka? Why should they choose the Senate bearer of ANC, Mr. Cummings? And also you have Tewon Gongolo, you have Dr. Clarence Maniba. You have so many people who are running for president, and we would love to get other people to come on the show and to also give not just the three major parties that we're talking about. So go ahead, Mr. George Lobo, and then we have Kev.
So I thought I like my brother Pee-wee desire to campaign. Government has a company.
Don't be afraid.
When a government has when a government has really performed, you will not have this much struggle. You will. President Weah, by the way, Jackie has been campaigning ever since. Dr. Peabody, if you're honest, everywhere you pass between every two light pole, President Weah has more than 40 pictures posted there. Everywhere. So he has been campaigning for him ever since. To the point where even when the legislature passed fund to buy lepos in Banga, the poll we are 2023, it speaks to the desperation. So I think my brother Pee-wee, when you're using words in terms of desperation, I think the CDC government and President Weah have they demonstrated desperation beyond all levels. If you want to know, even on government buildings, there are placards of campaigning there. So we can't even get that apart. No, but let me say this to you. I'm strongly committed to the opposition victory against the CDC. And on the basis of that, I know Mr. Cummings made some statements today. I know what Mr. Cummings is capable of doing. He has spoken to series of different national issues in the country. And he has also outlined and offered solutions to some of those concerns. And I think everything Mr. Cummings said is nothing strange to us. The only man who will sit and say the Liberian economy is doing so well is a man who lives on one of the CDC's 17 continents, because President Weah himself lives in a state of oblivion. They have no understanding as to what they're saying. And to my brother, I asked if you're going to come back here to speak on the issue of inflation. I hope you do more research before you talk about inflation, because currently there's over $50 billion Liberian dollars in circulation. Inflation is the result of excess amount of money in the money supply chasing fewer goods. When the UP government left power, according to the CBR 2017 report, there was less than 19 billion Liberian dollars in circulation. Today, we have over 50 billion.
That's not true. That is not true.
Sir, you need to learn to be tolerant.
That is not
every
true.
single banknote you printed out.
To be tolerant does not mean you
like,
spew out misinformation. Does not mean you spew out misinformation.
Slow down.
Let him finish.
If to move you long, if you want, I will go inside. Jackie, I just returned from the country. I will bring 3 different kinds of $10 and take the picture and show it to the Liberian people. Liberians are watching us. They will open the lines. You should call. Are there not 3 kinds of money on the market? The very first thing, the 10.5 billion that arrived in the country in 2017, was supposed to replace the legacy Ben note. The most recent money that was authorized by the Liberian legislature to be printed was to have a 1 kind of banknotes.
Jackie, are we talking about currency here? Or are we talking about?
Let me finish my statement. You spoke. I was muted.
Well,
as a former government official, I think it's prudent that you wait, be disciplined. Talking campaign, talking points is different from speaking to the issue and the facts. So just hold on, slow down. Okay, just wait. So I will say this again. The money that was recently printed, and Sylvester, the reason why I can say that, when monies are printed through a monetary policy, the way you infuse the money in the economy, the government announced to the citizens they are giving time to come and change their monies. All the money that has been printed has that happened. We still have the same old mutual. Even the ambassador spoke of it, and I find it fascinating to hear my brother Sylvester talk about the ambassador spoke of us beyond a global space or a global player. Sylvester, did you read the outgoing U.S. ambassador press release? I think if you read it as a former government official, you should be on your way to Israel to River Jordan. But I will say this to you guys. Mr. Cummings is a man who has spoken on the economy. He has spoken on systems. He has spoken to the poor performance of the CDC government. He has outlined so many lapses in the government. Now, with regards to he throwing shot at Joseph Nyenwolo, it is obvious. We are in the opposition. Mr. Cummings won what we want, and I'm committed to an opposition victory. If there was an ANC person here was going back and forth, I will, but I'm not going to do a CDC a favor. Mr. Cummings was right about some of the things he said with regards to the government. Now, with regards to us in the Unity Party, our argument against Mr. Cummings has been clear. I will never be disrespectful to Mr. Cummings. I will not use some of the words that my brother used in terms of desperation. He has no understanding. No, he's a smart guy. I just don't feel that he's the best to be president now because I believe I have the most experienced public servant. Having said that, there will be no way I'll disrespect him or say anything. He has perfect solution to the CDC government. Because of the government own incompetence, it has refused to listen to him and hear to Mr. Cummings is about. And that's what I would say to it.
Kev, quickly, go ahead, and then we will soon be going to the phone lines. Go ahead.
Well,
what about Mr. Cummings' statement?
When I listen to Mr. Cummings, the few part that I listen to, sometimes when you're watching somebody speaking, just look at the background. You get Louis Brown, who on record of corruption and stuff, and then you talk about corruption. So for me, I don't dignify that. But what stood out in the whole, the shot that he took on JMB. He actually went for the neck of JMB. He attacked JMB. And he attacked JMB seriously. He said the whole village would perish from hunger if we give cutlasses to an old man to make farm simply because he has experience. Alexander Cummings is saying, my brother Peabody, he said if you give the cutlasses to an old man, everybody will go hungry. I wonder what Jolly will say. Well, he was spot on.
Exactly.
I'm with Cummings on that. I'm with Cummings on that. So what Cummings is saying, you cannot take somebody that he feels that he don't have the energy, everything to, everybody. You get cutlass to, oh man,
Tanzania is running like Liberia like an irresponsible father who spends his day on liquor only to beg his neighbors to feed his family, pay his rent, and children's school fees. The American taxpayers are spending around $60 million a year on healthcare in Liberia, and another 23 million United States dollars on education. For our people's lives to get better, it is not going to be enough just to change individuals in October. We must elect people with a different mindset about what government is supposed to do and what leaders are supposed to be. Government is not a stealing business, and leaders do not have to be hustlers. Government is to make people's lives better. Leaders are supposed to set and live by higher standards. The success we seek or the things we want. When we let ourselves fall for everything, it means we actually stand for nothing. Leaders must stand for something. Like everyone else, I want to win. But I prefer to lose while fighting for real change than to win only to keep things as corruptly and wickedly as they are. Them at the unfair system. This too is the Liberia we must become. A Liberia that will not be ashamed to help Liberians fairly and honestly succeed. My people, we who believe in change must stand together and with each other.
Okay.
We who want to move our country forward and not backward must work together for the change our country so desperately needs. We can, and together, should chart a new path, not just to win the election, but more importantly, to fix our country.
Thank you, producer. I think we got enough.
Today.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I was. I wish we could, get the key clip of that recording, but when I was reading part of his speech, and the producer just came in and cut that off, but there's a strong part hitting. He's saying that you can just change because you just want to change. So what the Unity Party people are saying that we don't care if Jeremiah Kuhn voted for all the bills that the CDC government said. We don't care that Jeremiah Kuhn and the president agree to moving Liberia forward. They don't care nothing. So all they want to say, okay, let us choose. But there's nothing of Jeremiah Kuhn and JMB. That's the story. I see, Jackie, what you did cleverly, I will give it to you, is to try to push us to 1 year, 2 year statement. And if I were in your place, I would do the same thing. I guess you realize, one of the things I guess you realize that JMB's selection was a blunder. I guess you realize that JMB's selection was a blunder. So you say, you know what? I will come today. I will just bring different things, because because I guess when she realized that Sylvester, when she realized that you were coming on the show, she was like, you know, I will change some of those things because they realized they cannot defend that ticket. I don't know if you take notice, Sylvester, and the audience. They're running away to defend that ticket. And we want us to bring the ticket. Bring the ticket. Jackie, you are running away to defend that ticket.
We are talking about.
You don't have no, Jackie. If you're gonna on our lineup, if you're gonna bring a 1 year story that was March 31st, 2022 story last year, Sylvester, last year's story. If you're gonna bring last year's story and not defending your ticket,
10-second break and then we come back.
You need to defend that ticket. Jackie cannot defend her own ticket. That shows that they don't trust the ticket. The paper made a mistake, or the paper judgment is not intact anymore.
You're right.
That's why you see George Double, no reference to that ticket George will make. No reference to Kuhn. Jackie, no reference.
Kev, I'm a disciplined intellectual. I speak to the issue.
No. You
I
just
speak
have
to
a
the topics
brand
I
new
was
ticket.
brought to talk
You
about.
have a ticket. Let me tell you, Sylvester, you in this country. When you choose a ticket, what happened? People go around.
First and foremost, Kev,
People go around.
I was arguing that the Peabody, I was supposed to be a
you
guest
go around, you
yesterday,
sell
not
your
a guest
ticket.
panelist.
But Jackie then cannot even sell their
So
own
that's
ticket.
the first thing. So I would have spoken about ticket.
George Double
Because
cannot
I'm a
sell that
panelist, I will
ticket.
speak to the issues. I am not serving as a
You
guest.
cannot sell the ticket.
If you invite me as a guest from the UP or JMB camp, then you can ask me about my tickets. I'm a
No, but you're surrogate for the Unity Party.
Yeah, but I was not invited as a guest.
I think we need to take a break and then go to the phone line because time is going.
So the next time when they invite me as a guest.
Well, folks, it's your turn to partake on the show by calling the following numbers: 0880 60 33 60, 0880 60 33 60, and 0775 60 33 60 are the numbers to call tonight and form part of the program.
So before we get on the phone line, there is a press release, something that was released today by the National Electricity, by LEC, the Liberia Electric Corporation. They're talking about the availability of current going forward. So to the producer, please put that letter up. We'll just a paragraph of it. We can get 30 seconds on it, not long, and then we'll go to the phone lines because we have to go. The Liberian Electricity Corporation has a major message for us that was released today. So producer, can you put that press release up for us?
Yeah, we are trying to get it on the screen.
Go ahead and start to read it. It said the management of the Liberian Electricity Corporation, LEC, which is to inform its valued customers that due to unforeseeable challenges with power generation in Cote d'Ivoire, CI emerges there go the letter right there. CI Energies, the electricity supplier through Transco CLSG transmission lines, is no longer able to supply Liberia with electricity beyond contracted capacity. So this means that we are going to have problems. They said the impact of such an unfortunate development is that LEC may not be able to meet domestic peak demand, which is currently 74 megawatts, well above the current generation capacity of the corporation. So I hope everybody take heed to this. We are going to have some LEC electricity challenges over the next few months. Please get your generator ready. Make sure you have extra funds to put fuel or gas in your generator, because right now LEC released a statement today. It's actually dated May 1st, 2023, which is today. So we are going to get just 30 seconds on this because we got to go to the phone line. Go ahead, Sylvester, Dr. Peabody, Keff, and then George.
It's unfortunate, but quite recently, and I don't want to do any comparison here, but quite recently, in Middletown, in part of the area, there was this alert that came out. There was this power outage. So it's a normal. I think the IDC is saying some things. It's unfortunate that this development is coming up, but quite frankly, as to what's happening from the Côte d'Ivoire. But I think the Liberal Legislative Corporation will do everything in her means to ensure, because this is technical situation here, and they're faced with some situation, and it is not only limited in Liberia. This is not an isolated process. It's across the African terrain. If you were to even major city like Accra and other area, even Abidjan would be affected. I was talking to a comrade from Abidjan that I plan to meet soon in Paris. He was saying to me that yes, Abidjan is also large part of Abidjan is facing some power outages and the rest of it. So this process is not limited to the country alone, but the government put into place tremendous resources in terms of to promote social services in the Republic. It's obvious. In recent time, we've been doing very well with the university. I live in Dixville, behind the Balanceville side. I'm told we enjoy 24/7 the city. But again, there will be a time that we have. I don't think this is not going to last long, but these are technical problems that this unfold everywhere. When I was in Glendale, Arizona, it happened in some cases. Sometimes for a few hours, sometimes few hours, and then I mean it's not normal, right? It's not normal. It's not
Arizona?
No, yeah, but in recent time, it do happen. It's unfortunate. I'm not making comparison here. That'd be a little serious, right? But this is quite unfortunate that we've been enjoying a lot of good land of life in the country. Okay, but again, from the situation from the Côte d'Ivoire will affect us. I mean, it's obvious. It do happen. In recent time, it happened in some places, right?
Chime in.
You know, I like the minister here. You know, but let me say that it's rather sad. Because we'll see the decrease in the electricity supply. A lot of people are going to be affected. Business is going to be affected, and I just say sad. I mean, I'm out of words to really what to say here, because even with just recently it was improved, and people were commenting, now it's gone all the way back down. That's not good for the country. It's not good for business. It's not good for investment. That's not a good thing. And I hope there will be some way that they can put this back together, but it's not good for the country.
All right. Kev, go ahead.
You know, sometimes the thinking process of...
guys, in 30 seconds.
Sometimes the thinking process of some of our people, it's just so... I don't know. You're reading the thing, you see the CLSG transmission line in Côte d'Ivoire. Which Liberia don't have control over the technical side, having problems that affected us. Then you say the government. Come on, man. Come on, it's just stupidity or wickedness. Seriously. Something like Liberia, it will affect that same line. Sierra Leone buying current for Ivory Coast too. Benin been buying current from Ghana, Togo then for long years. All this country that it happened. They're having a problem. If problem happen in Ghana, it will affect Benin and Togo. But because some of our folks mind just there in Liberia, they don't know what happened in different countries. They just talk because they want to play politics with it.
Okay, 10 more seconds.
Liberia have any control over the people transmission in Ivory Coast? It's stated clearly in the press release. Ivory Coast, Cote d'Ivoire. Then you could turn around and say, "Oh, the tea is going down now. Oh, this thing happened. This thing problem. This thing problem." Yes. When you fought war. When you go behind people like Prince Johnson there and they brought and damage because Prince Johnson the one that entered Monrovia, the first person that entered Monrovia, and because I don't judge you, you're too young to know about that. You're too young to know, Georgie. You were too young. But when Prince Johnson entered the city, he damaged our country. He damaged our country.
All right, Keff, thank you so much.
You damage your country. Then you sit down there crying.
George, go ahead.
When you are damaging your country, you think that
you know, Jackie and Dr. Peabody.
With your talk, man, it just kind of.
I found my two.
You shouldn't damage your own country that you want to.
I found my two.
Liberia was better before. You know, Liberia was better. The 24-hour current was there before John Manuel where I came. You act like the country had 24-hour current.
Right now, George,
you act like the country. This person is fixing this thing. First time in the post-war, most of our area in Monserrado had 24-hour current. First time in our history.
You are off the floor. Go ahead, George.
Oh man.
Thank you.
This thing, that's good.
You know, I say like this, Jackie.
You spoil your own country that you want out of
the reason why the Liberian people will blame the government because of this. This is a government that came into power to make things better. Sadly for us, all we hear from them is excuses and excuses and excuses. Sylvester, maybe you may have forgotten, but in the UP first 6 months, Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf turned on small light today, big light tomorrow. When we inherited Liberia in 2006, we inherited a country with 0 megawatts of power. Before we left power, we reconstructed the hydro, increased its capacity to 88 megawatts. We signed the CLSG agreement. You know the facts on that. We began the process. We had the negotiation and most of the heavy lifting was concluded. All we expected from the CDC was manage, even if you could not take it further, just manage what we gave you. Look, let us not pretend here. You have not been paying the people as per the agreement. That's that I will not forget. So what I want you CDCians to do for us is, I want you to check in Sierra Leone, go on the Sierra Leone website and see if the energy company to release a sin statement. Bring the sin statement from Benin. Then your argument will hold substance. But let me tell you, the people might be just trying to be diplomatic. Your inability to meet up with your dues. You think who's going to continue to support you?
20 more seconds.
Okay.
You have any proof?
Just started talking, Jackie. I will leave it. But I will say this to you guys, to my CDC friends. The sad part about you guys is that you cannot point at what you've improved on. Okay, 12 years of the UP. We constructed a hydro. We left a power plant on the Bushra Island. We signed the CLSG agreement. What else has you done? The money to expand and complete the hydro, the Melonian Challenge project, we secured 257 million through the MCC Compact program. When you came, what did you do? You disqualify us. You made it disqualify Liberia, and up to today's day, was supposed to get 275 million. We could not get it. So my question here to the Liberian people is simple. You need a responsible government. Yes, you argue people want to justify that in the Cote d'Ivoire. And my brother Peewee, you know very well, the only time electricity goes off here in the state of Arizona, there has to be something of a natural cost. Nothing of cost. Other than that, you know that. The people have one of the biggest nuclear plant operated by APS here. So don't go down that path. And that comparison was even bad for you to do that. But I will say again, a government that manufactures excuses. Look, if this government excuse factories, we're actually hiring Liberian, I think we'll have the lowest unemployment number in the country because you guys never run out of lies. You guys never run out of excuses. I wish you guys all the best. The Liberian people need a competent government. That is the problem. George Weah just can't get this job done. And the sooner we get rid of George Weah, the better it will be for our country. That's what I would say to this.
Can the producer put the phone lines up? Today we'll talk about the National Elections Commission, talk about trucking, we'll talk about the replacement of the Minister of Posts and Telecom. We talk about Mr. Cummings' speech today, and we'll also just talk about the LDC notification that was sent out to the public today. Of course, there will be load shedding, and people have to prepare because LDC will not be able to provide electricity as before until this issue with the CSLG is fixed. So once again, we'd like to thank our viewers for watching today. We are about to go to the phone lines, and the number 231-775-603-360. The other number is 231-8806-03-360. So go ahead, producer, and start taking calls, please.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening, caller.
Yeah, good evening. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm okay. You're live. 30 seconds.
Yeah, my name is Eddie P from Chicken Factory. Member of the Respondent Defensive. Yeah, I'm on the line. You know, one good thing I would tell George Lobo, let me just tell you something. We sit here, we know the 12 here. We're not present in this country. Today, Chicken Factory, benefit from quarry. You know how many homes are being electrified, George Lobo? Or you only want to come on your radio and just talk to George Lobo? But let me just put it out and tell you, George Lobo. The time we'll go through the process. If they love for let yourself back, the time will tell. Nothing ever done for us in this country to yourself back. You know how many who are being electrified? Now I have to up to the 4-hour electricity. They want come.
Good evening.
Thank you very much, guys, for recognition. My name is Abraham Dukulin. I join you from Clouds and Days evening. You know, I'm very disappointed tonight about George Drogo. You know, George Drogo, you say you people, you are very competent. I will be very quick here. If George Drogo, you are very competent people, you are not going to be booted out 2017. Why Joseph Baka, you always got us booting people out, disgracing people. Look, let me say this. This PK is one of the wicked PK. This PK is one of the wicked PK. To tell somebody who sell him organs, you make him as bad.
Well, we gotta hold you there. You don't have fights to that. We gotta hold you there. Good evening. Good evening. Yes, you're live. Go ahead.
Yes, there's only say completely. Yeah, some made me a reminder. Hello?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. You know, we the old people of the country, our great-grandfather died in poverty, and our grandfather died in poverty, and our father then died in poverty, and we ourselves were in poverty. We see good light. We see development. We see roads. We see light. Tonight, this is my first year sleeping under light. Then you sit here at the studio there lie to Liberia, you think we all will lie. Today, what is the definition of education? What we can manufacture here?
Thank you.
Hello?
Good evening, Albert.
Yeah, good
Are you
evening.
laughing?
Go ahead, Albert.
My name is
Good evening.
Hello.
We'll take 3 more.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Give our closing.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Abba Kemogan in Kawa.
Let's hear you.
Thank you very much. You know, I listened to the minister talking about trucking and the opposition. Just yesterday, we heard about a lady that died in River Set for trucking. In fact, information is that Biotoa was the one that trucked the lady from Fiamma and carried the woman in River Set, and the woman died in the river while crossing the way and register. Now, when we talk about a serious issue here, we should be serious. We are talking about what is happening in this country. If we are saying
that President Weah should go back, my brother. People down flying me above. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, 2 more calls.
Good evening.
Hello?
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, is it a talk show?
Yes, this is the closing argument. Go ahead.
Okay, I want to make my contribution.
That's why you call.
Okay, thank you for the program. I just want to say, yeah, okay, you know, the issue of Liberia is very, very deep, more especially in respect to our government. The government have been giving out a lot of rhetoric in the country. You know, they say they pay the money for LEC to provide electricity. And I have done that. They owe the company $9 million. They owe even next $10 million. They owe 2 point some more million, close to 4 more, and I pay the government. So the brother in the studio, they shouldn't just sit down and try to exaggerate things. This country is going bad off. This is time we need to rescue Liberia from this rhetoric. We're gonna roll.
Thank you.
Don't roll.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Good evening to me, listening audience. Hello.
You are live. You are live. Go ahead. Good evening.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead. You're live.
Hello.
You are live. Go ahead.
My name is Abu.
Okay.
Well, so yes. Okay, let's take this last caller and then we'll come to you. Good evening.
Well, so yes. Okay, let's take this last caller and then we'll come to you. Good evening. Well, so yes. Okay, let's take this last caller.
That's it.
Yeah, so majority of the callers will have to call and want to listen to themselves.
Oh yeah.
So it actually causes a lot of delay in getting to the phone line. So you can take over from there, Madam McCay.
Well, thank you so much to our many listeners. Once again, we are about to the show for the day. We had a very, very fascinating discussion today. And we'll go ahead and close now. We'll start with Sylvester, and then we'll go to Kev, we'll go to George. Where's Dr. Peabody? Well, I don't see him. All right, go ahead, Sylvester.
Okay, I just always I'm starting. Okay.
Well, today's your first day here. So.
Okay, thank you, Jackie. But on the most serious note, I think the callers, these are folks that are currently living in the country. They're getting the fruit of what is unfolding in the country in terms of electricity, the social services, and it was clearly manifested by their actions. And you saw the way they lambasted our brother and another thing. I think they are very honest because they want to be grateful. These are the grateful souls, and they're receiving from the government the impact of what the government is doing, and they're trying to open the state here. And it's obvious here that if you are not, and I borrowed this from the former president. He said that there's Liberia situation. If you are not there, I mean, it's not good at all. He was referencing Madam Salih, then former President Taylor. And so this is quite unfortunate. There are tremendous transformation process unfolding in the country. We need to come out and commend the government, commend the Weah-led administration for creating a lot of opportunity in different sectors of the Liberian government. So just sit down in your comfort here and begin to spread up disinformation. It's quite unfortunate. You are not going to sow discord among the people of Liberia on the basis of those counterproductive thought process that you're trying to have. And you started doing it ever since. I said this to you, my dear brother. You don't have to be overly counterproductive. You should sometimes try to catapult and project the country image. That's the good side of it. We need to promote our country. We need to promote what is unfolding in our country. I mean, there will be a day you will come and you be part of your party will be there. We will always see the good. The best way to do is if you have some challenge in the country, you profit what we call workable solutions. But to just be negative throughout your time of opposition is troubling. It's troubling. So you should not be a counterproductive element. Try to be productive sometime. Think positive about the country.
All right, thank you.
Positive things unfolding in the country, and we need to all glorify Liberia for that. I'm a proud Liberian. I will always associate with the country, and thank God that the Liberian people are very thoughtful to elect George Nyenwolo as the president of the Republic of Liberia, that will move on into where we are headed.
Yes.
Well, the people who voted spoke on the radio, and they spoke to my brother George. So I hope when you go home, you will realize that the people understand. You know, I always say that Liberian voters are smart. They're not buying that rhetoric. They know 6 years ago, 5 years ago, under the 12-year failed Unity Party regime, there was no 24-hour current, but when you come and act like there's a 24-hour current, the people realize that you fooling us. You fooling us. So they expressed that through their cause. But George said one thing. Joe McCay on this current issue, Unity Party days. But McCay said himself, he said it. He said when Pelosi asked, Nancy Pelosi spoke to your president, your government at that time, that the city is dark, we need light. We did not we did not take opportunity of that. And that's what, during the time he was talking about squander opportunities, they are the opportunities he was talking about. Go back and listen to it. He spoke about light. He spoke about Nancy Pelosi saying that we need current. So go and, I'm just telling everybody, go and listen. Go and listen. So when the smart voters there who are going to vote October 10th, will realize, they realize that my good friend Lobo is not saying the truth. So that's why they came out and just.
All right, thank you, Kev.
And just let him know that they're not going to vote for them.
Thank you, Kev. Go ahead, George. You have the floor now.
The smart voters were there in Maserati, where the cause came from, when we defeated Pauletta Weir and defeated Thomas Fala. Those were the same voters. They're the CDC stronghold.
But your gratefulness on them.
I haven't said that.
We are closing. Please.
I haven't said that. What the callers may not know is that the very first thing, the hydro that provided the electricity they enjoy was reconstructed by the UP government. The lines were being extended through our instrumentality. That's what I said, Kev. Maybe you didn't understand me. I say, even what we gave you, had you just managed it and not taking it forward, we will stay better off. You put the country in the reverse while your president in the studio recording songs. And that is what he has been doing. But I'll say this, I heard my brother Pee-wee said they've been grateful. Pee-wee, I hope you can go to Nukuta and go to West Point. The beach and waterway workers, the people down the chain that your government owe 11 months, you can pay them. I'm not talking about government employees. Government checks are bouncing here and there. I will say this to you. The Liberian people understand what they're going through. You can't intellectualize hunger. The cost of living today has gone up. The struggle that people go through for them to survive under this government that promised to live more than 1 million people out of poverty. Sadly, for it has put more people in poverty than they even met. So again, I would say to our Liberian people, this is not a scam. This is not an opportunity where people come here to give out talking points. You know what you're feeling. You know how much it costs you to live. And let me say this, don't be ungrateful. I don't like ungrateful people. If President George Weah has improved your life, and your business is doing well, vote for him. But if you know you're struggling to get back, you are begging for handouts every day, then you have an obligation to ensure that this man never sees the mansion again. This man and his group of looters, we could not even speak on the specifics
All right.
of corruption. Rampant corruption, massive looting of public resources, all the covers. This government is bad, and President Weah must go. He must go now.
Thank you, George. This comes. We are now at the end of the closing argument today, May 1 edition. We would like to once again thank all our viewers for watching. Thanks to our producer. Thanks to Hot FM. And my message to close is for people to go out there and continue to vote. Please go out and register, not to vote, but to register to vote in the remaining 9 counties. Voting the last day, of course, is May 11. Go ahead and take it over, producer. And to our guest panelists, thank you so much for joining us today. We look forward to seeing both of you again sometime very soon. This week, next week. Yeah. Thank you so much to everyone.
Thank you, Jackie.
George, thank you, Kev. Go ahead, take over, producer.
Well, folks, thanks for watching the closing argument on KMTV. We brought you the program on Hot FM 107.9 and also Puma FM in Bomi County 106.3. Till we come your way on Wednesday, have yourself a pleasant night from the nation's capital, Monrovia.